So in the last class we have learned about force, and in this class we will learn about Newton's first law of motion. So what is Newton's first law of motion? What is the definition of Newton's first law of motion? To know, to write the definition, the definition of Newton's first law, before that first we have to understand that what is Newton's first law of motion. Because without understanding, if I give you the definition, then in the exam you can write, but you will not understand that. And first understanding is needed, and then definition. So I'll divide Newton's first law of motion in two parts. First part, look at the picture. Here one box is there in the floor, and it is in rest. So according to Newton's first law, if a body is in rest, it tends to be in rest unless and until some external unbalanced force applied on it. So if now we can see the box is in rest, it will be in rest if force is not applied on it. So in this picture you look, that box is pushing by a person. That means he is applying some force. So if his force is greater than the frictional force, which is opposite to the motion, then the box will move. Otherwise, the box will tend to be its original position. Then we will go for the second part. In the second part, you look, a cyclist is riding his cycle. So that means pedaling the cycle, and it is moving. The cycle is going on, and it will not stop unless and until he will apply brakes or stop pedaling. Both cases may be there. First case, he is stopping by using brake, or stop pedaling, and after some time it will stop due to the frictional force. So if suppose frictional force not there, he is not applying brake, the cycle will go on. It will not stop because it tends to be in motion. So now I'll give you some more example. So here you can see one object is there. Two persons are using balance force. The object is not moving. But when the two persons are forcing from the same side, unbalanced force is applied and it moves. Similarly, when football is there, it is in race, it tend to be in rest. Then when the footballer is kicking the ball, then external unbalanced force is applied and it is going to some distance. And again, goal post is there and it stops there because again one force is applied which stop this one. So we have got two conditions, and from these two conditions we can write Newton's first law. First condition is if a body is in rest, it tend to be in rest unless and until external unbalanced force applied to it. And if a body is in motion, it tends to be in motion unless and until some external unbalanced force acts on it. So now from these two conditions we can write Newton's first law of motion. So Newton's first law of motion is if a body is in rest, it tends to be in rest, and if it is in motion, then tends to be in motion unless and until some external unbalanced force act on it. Okay, for today this much only. In the next class we will learn Newton's second law of motion.